Howdy everybody in YouTube land. So what we have in front of us today is it's a Sony. And actually this is an SRF-A100 and there's a few of these videos out there. And this is a well-known AM, FM, and AM stereo receiver compatible with all of those different standards formats for AM stereo decoding. But this one belongs to a friend of mine and it doesn't work. It actually just produces a static noise and nothing else. So, two things. One, it's a Sony, so I can only imagine, what the actual issue is going to be because I've worked on enough Sony stuff. Plus, it's made in that era. So, put two and two together, what do you have? Probably leaky capacitors. At least that's the guess right now. I don't know 100% for certain until I dig into it, which, by the way, I've already taken the liberty of removing the back and stuff off of it. So let's take it apart and take a look at it. So this one, I don't know when it was manufactured 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's late 80s. So it's going to be of that particular time period where capacitors are a problem. Also, it looks like the battery terminal has been eaten all to hell because someone left the batteries in it, so I'm going to need to remove that and dip that into vinegar or something like that and try to clean all of that up. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah. So I don't see any capacitors on the back side, of course. I do see one sticking out here, and it looks like it's not leaking. I can't really tell. So we're going to have to pull this rear cover off. And it looks like it removes as an assembly, but I can't tell how it comes off yet. I think I've got to remove those switches and those knobs on the top here. That's kind of neat. Wideband, distance, normal, local. I'm not familiar with these radios, so it's kind of cool seeing some of the features it has. And there's no dents in the speakers. I typically see these on the internet. They're just dented all to hell on eBay. So, alright, let's get this guy apart and see what we have going on inside. Shall we? So I got the knobs off right now to try to get this removed. I'm trying to figure out how this comes apart. Now, I could probably go find the service manual and it would tell me, but I like doing things the hard way. So, from what it looks like, I'm not going to be able to get down there with an iron, so I'm probably going to need to unsolder the speakers and things from this here so I can swing this board outward. So, yeah, let's try it that way. Let's get that unsoldered. Yeah, I did have to take those wires out, but not only that, there's a screw right here that had to be removed, so I can just lift it up and slide it out. And then that gives us, what do we have? Yeah, this is pretty bad. Let me look over here. Wow, yeah. We got a wet spot on that capacitor under that cap. So these guys are leaking big time. Actually, it might be glue or something, because I don't see a cap there, but it looks wet. So actually, that might be a glue. Let me see. It is. Yeah, that might be a false thing. So let's look underneath some of these. If any of these are leaking. It's hard to tell. Just get it under the light. That one might be a little bit. It's hard to say. Hard to say. Oh, it's on my fingers too. Oh yeah, I can smell the fishy smell on my finger. So it's leaking. They're definitely leaking. I got to figure out which ones. I got to get this plastic out of the way in order to see exactly which ones need changed. But this thing's pretty bad, actually. Let's see what we got here. Can't tell. It's really hard to tell with some of these. I don't know if they're all leaking, if some of them are leaking, dried out. But yeah, I can see the brown spot underneath that cap for sure. So yeah, I'm going to have to take a closer look. But before I do that, I got to figure out how to get this off, which is going to be interesting because the bar antenna is right there in this plastic retainer, which means I have to remove the antenna. Oh man, I don't want to do that. But I don't have a choice, do I? Let's see. I've got a wire that's off there. Yeah, that looks like the only wires connected to those. So yeah, I'm gonna have to remove the antenna. Oh, pain. Okay, well, let's keep taking this sandwich apart. Alright, so I got the board isolated. I had to take the knob off. But what I ended up doing was sandwiching the two together so I don't lose the dial cord, because that would kind of suck. So that's just kind of out of the way right now. But I got everything apart, and I'm looking at this stuff. The date codes is pointing this thing around 1983, 1984. Which I didn't think was the leaky capacitor era. I thought it was after that. But look, right there. See that? Nice and green, crusty. So they're bad. They gotta go. So now I gotta get a capacitor list together so I can get them all changed out. And I gotta get inside this can. I think this is the Sequan D-Mod, but I'm not sure. It probably is, and it's its own little self-contained module. So I'm going to have to suck that off the board and look inside here for leaking capacitors as well. So now, if you remember a previous video, I did an AM stereo Walkman, and I remember it having a can very similar to that, and I didn't open it up. And guess what? There's a problem with the AMD mod. It doesn't work half the time, so I bet there's caps in here that are bad on that other radio that I missed. So I'm not going to miss it this time. Okay. I'm going to start logging caps and popping them off and replacing them, and I'll be back on here in a minute. Alrighty then. Now I have my capacitor list together. Not to scale, of course, but close enough. I removed the AM stereo Sequan decoder module, which was fun to take apart because you have that, but not only do you have that, you also have this, which this is soldered in with that, and it anyways. So I pulled it apart, I got the circuit board out, and sure enough, more capacitors. That's what I suspected. So that one's been documented because that one goes right there. So if I flip it over to the side, I have that one documented now. So none of those appear to be leaking, but if I'm in here changing capacitors anyways, I might as well change them all. So this one here is the one that's all corroded from the visibility standpoint there. Now what I don't know is what the condition of the rest of them are, which is weird because all of these values are the same. But you can see the tops on those are flat, but look at this one, it's all domed. This one's partially domed. It's so weird. This is the same one too. So, I don't know. But regardless, they're all going bye-bye. They've all got to be changed. Now, I have all of these, almost all of these in stock. Some of these I don't have. Like this 0.47, wherever the world it is. I don't think I have those. Maybe. Have to look. That one. I don't think I have those. I'm thinking, well, why do they need an electrolytic that's going to be the same value as like a ceramic or something? I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, so I have all of these. I'm going to have to check my stash for the 2.2s. I know I have the 4.7s, but the 2.2s and the 3.3, I don't know. I might have them. But all the other ones I do have. These I don't. I don't think. Again, with this one here. And in a 224 volt, I might have that one. From the CompuAd video, I got some extras, so I might actually have that. I'll have to check. And as you can tell, height clearance is a thing with this because of the shield. So I got to make sure I have the right ones. They've got to be able to fit. If they're too tall, they won't fit. They cannot be taller than this IF can, because the IF can comes really close to touching the top of the shield. Alright, so we finally have the parts in for the AM stereo radio. These are all mixed in with other parts for other jobs, but the parts are in here now. The SRF-A100, this is my little diagram thing that I made. Because remember, the height of the caps are important in a lot of this stuff, so... Alright, so since these are kind of notorious for the caps going bad, drying out, and all of that fun stuff, we're just going to go ahead and change them all. And then we'll play around with this radio and see how well it actually works. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm probably going to skip a lot of the video on this because it's just, pretty straightforward and repetitive. I'll bring you back if I run into something crazy, but otherwise we're just going to go ahead and start changing out all the caps. And then I think we should test these caps and see how bad they actually are once I get them all changed out. Alright, so this one's complete now. All the caps have been in place. Now, out of all of them I pulled out, there was only like 3 in there that were showing signs of leaking. It was the one between here, the one up here, and then there was another one, but I forget which one. I think it was over here. But not a big deal. I just want peace of mind, so I went ahead and changed all of them. And since this is a sealed can, I changed these too. Now, I did mess up. This 220, I was trying to knock out multiple birds with one stone by ordering just one part instead of having a 4 volt and then a 10 volt. So I just used a 10 volt. But it's a little bit on the tall side. So, or a thick side, I mean. So it's not gonna, it's gonna be a tight squeeze to get that in there, but I think I can get that in there. So now it's just a matter of inspecting everything, and everything looks okay. So yeah, we just got to get this thing all put back together and test it out and see what happens. All right, it's all back together. The appropriate wires are soldered in where they needed to go, and I had to go back and reference photo it because I think it was May, late April, early May when I took this apart, and here it is in almost September. So it's only been a few minutes when I finally got the parts in here, but it's fine. Alright, so here comes the fun. Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Trying to get batteries. Alright, so had to clean up the terminal with some vinegar and all that stuff because someone left batteries in here, but there. Does it work? I don't know. This is my first time trying it, so here we go. That's a negative. Yeah, spray the pots out better. Let's see. Nope. It is oscillating. Now, I don't have an antenna hooked up, but no, that's an issue. I got one speaker that's dead. What's back here? Okay, I got more troubleshooting I need to do. Alright, so these two are the audio amplifiers, right? I'm only getting anything out of the right channel. It's motorboating, but watch this. Wet finger. So, also we don't have any selectivity on the AM. I have to bring my finger real close to this, which is the AM IF stage. Now, could be an RF amp problem. I don't know yet, but more importantly, I think we have two bad audio amplifier ICs, because I checked this one and I've got all of my voltages, but this IC isn't doing anything at all, and this one's just motorboating. And the only way to stop it is to basically put my finger between pin 1 and 2. And if we look at the schematic, 1 and 2 is the ground, and then 1 is the actual audio input. So I'm actually decreasing the impedance across these two pins with my finger. So that tells me we've got something wrong in this amplifier. Because if I measure the resistance from here to ground, everything's fine. So I'm going to have to order up some TA7331s and replace those, because they died for some reason. And also, one of these two caps had leaked, so it's possible it damaged something. Because like I said there's like 3 capacitors that leaked, and this is one of the 3 that did. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to order up some ICs. So I gotta do that, and then deal with that fun stuff. I got the board out so I can do further troubleshooting, and I got one dead amplifier IC for sure. The other one is motorboating, but I can kind of get it to stop by doing the wet finger trick, and that doesn't really get me that far because it sounds like crap. So there's something wrong with those ICs, but more importantly, I've got the ICs in the cart of UT Source because I figured they're cheap enough. I might as well just get a few of them that I need, because I don't exactly know yet if this IC is bad, because I am getting FM. I can kind of get it, but I'm not getting any AM activity at all, and the only thing that's in that chain is this IC plus the some of the stuff in the IF stage. Now, I've got a oscillator that looks like I got the oscilloscope up and going. I checked the oscillator and it's working, so that's not my issue, but I'm getting nothing through the IF at all. So it's either this IC not outputting into the IF, or there's something wrong in the IF and it's not, so yeah, I've got to check the IF coils and make sure they're not open, and just odds and ends like that basically. So that's where we are at the moment, and I'll be back once I get all of my parts in, so I can at least get the audio amps up and going before I can do the rest of the troubleshooting. I think I might have figured out why the AM wasn't working. I soldered, if you caught it earlier in the video, you're probably screaming in the camera, but I soldered a bar antenna wire here. Well, if you look close, that's the FM RF input. I was wondering why the circuit wasn't making sense. No. I needed to solder it here, not here. Here. This is the AM input. If we follow it, it goes all the way to here. Right? But if we look at the schematic, which is here, there it is. Yeah, it's supposed to connect here, not wherever that is. So there you go. That's why the AM's not working. That's not why I was motorboating. Motorboating is due to these ICs being bad. Now, I did find some battery damage here underneath this cap that I missed, so I cleaned it up. You can see this 33 ohm resistor is getting super hot. See how it's kind of like burnt? It's hard to say. It's hard to tell in the camera, but if you look up close, it's kind of burnt in the middle. Well, if we look at the schematic once again, where does that go? Well, it's right here. This 33 ohm is right here. That is the feed to the audio power amplifiers. So they are definitely bad. They're going to have to go. So yeah, we're going to replace those, but I don't think we need to replace this because of my mistake of not soldering it here where it's supposed to go. Here. Yeah, there you go. That's why it doesn't work. FM kind of worked if I held my finger here, but barely. So, yeah. All I got to do is get those ICs replaced, and I think this thing's going to work fine. Alright, so now that some time has passed, remember, we had one channel that was completely dead and the other one that was motorboating. So now that some time has passed, we've got some parts that finally arrived. So I got some new 7331s. At least I hope they're new. They don't look new. I just gotta hope like hell that they're actually still good. So I got 2 plus a couple extras. So hopefully at least 2 of these 4 are good, and we're going to change both of those ICs out and hope that fixes my audio problem going on. But I also grabbed these ICs, which are new, and those are the ones that are the IF for everything. And then I got some of the stereo demodulation ICs too, just to have them on hand, just in case. So alright, so we're going to get those sucked off and get them replaced, and let's hope they work. Alright, so I got the old ones removed. They're over here. I don't see anything visible except maybe here and here, but that doesn't really mean much. So these are mine that are going to go in, and they're definitely used. At least that one is. That one's hard to say, but anyway, so we're going to put those in, and we're going to hope that it fixes the problem. Well, they're in there. Just gotta hope like hell it actually works. I checked these tents and they're not shorted yet. But let's see if it works. There's the old ones. Alright, so here we go. It's either gonna work or it is not. Oh, I gotta go get another battery. I'll be back. Alright, another battery. I'm running out of batteries actually. Okay, here we go. I got both channels. Wow, it works. Okay. It works. So let me get this thing put back together.
This is your country. 1041 WNCC.
SoCon Stadium.
I can hear the stereo separation real well.
Good for you. All day.
Every
This thing is amazing as far as the sensitivity is concerned. Like, holy crap, let's go into AM.
on Facebook, all over the world, online.
Yeah, it's crazy. This thing works incredibly well. Now, that station you just heard there is the River in Atlanta. See, I'm all the way up here by Asheville, North Carolina, and typically I can't get that station unless I'm in my car and it's pretty fringe. This is amazing. The performance on this thing is absolutely just blows me away. Because I got it set on the wide distance switch for FM, so like...
Western Carolina to bring you the very best of Catamount sports. And we're also proud to bring so many great game day options to the purple and gold faithful, like the best meat in town, crisp fresh produce.
That's more stations than I can ever get on the band inside the house.
Right now you're doing Colin Kaepernick. How many hours of footage do you have?
That is actually really, really, really good. Because typically down here when I work on equipment, and even the hi-fi stuff I have hooked up with an antenna, I might get 1 or 2 stations and everything else is dead. This thing picks up in a lot of stations. So let's check out AM. AM's not as much. There's hardly any stations here on AM, but we got a couple of music stations on AM at least. See, there's not really much on AM at all here. That's 700 WLW, but it's just barely coming in.
At the Cullowhee Valley School, located at 240 Wisdom Drive, the Bridge Church. Visit us or watch our services online at
Church station.com.
Love your car, but
Yeah, there's like 2 stations on AM. So yeah, we've got a music station on the top end of the dial on AM, which makes it worth, playing around with AM radios. And we got one of them down here, a public access slash Christian rock and country, whatever. And they switch over to talk and sports for Cullowhee out there in Catamount. But anyways, that's it. That's the only 2 stations on the AM dial here. But the FM performance in this thing is it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. So, wow. This thing is working incredibly, incredibly well. So, I am pleasantly surprised how well this thing is working. So, and it's in great shape. So, now that it's complete and fixed and fully operational, we got the caps that we had to replace. There was only like a couple of them leaking, and ironically, one of them was in between these 2 amplifier ICs, which were bad. One had no sound at all, and the other one was motorboating. So, yeah, they needed 2 amp ICs, and it probably only needed a couple of these caps, but I changed them all anyway. So, this thing is good to go, and it can now be shipped back to its rightful owner. As a Christmas present, I might say. So if you have a comment, please feel free to leave one. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.